What's going on, guys? You're back with me again. Ouija board with board of NFTs, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to switch over today to an Ethereum project that I recently picked up, and I hinted at this in an earlier video. I was really excited to get this NFT. You guys are going to think, why would you get this now? It's not a very popular NFT, but it's something that I've always wanted to have. So I'm going to go into it straight away. So if any of you are not even fussed with this NFT collection, you can just click straight off. But this collection is Moonbirds. So I was around for obviously the launch of the project. I didn't mint the project, but this was one that came a little later in the NFT cycle. It minted around April of 2022. And just full disclosure, guys, there's a lot that I don't know about this project, but, just having been around the space for a long time, there's things that obviously I do know. So this project launched around April 2022, and it was launched, one of the co-founders was a guy called Kevin Rose, who was, well known in the space already. And there was a lot of groups coming up around that time. There was the 888 group. Zeneca had his kind of closed group where people were able to join a closed Discord group where they would talk about mints that were coming up. And then Kevin Rose co-founded the Proof Collective, which the Proof Collective were all around high-end art and creative as well. They wanted creatives in the space. So they launched Moonbirds. I think that they were launched for around 2 ETH, 2.5 ETH, something like that. So it was quite a lot of money. And they were hugely popular. I mean, these things, they just flew off the shelf. As soon as they started minting, they flew off the shelf. People resonated with the art. They loved it. Originally, it was just pixel art. You're going to see now, as you're looking at the screen, you're going to see a combination of pixel art, and you're going to see this kind of, I don't know what they called it, but like an upgraded change of art style. When you click into them, you have the option to switch between the two. So if I'm just going to click on this one here, you can see here they've got it as illustrated. This was a different artist, to my understanding, from the person that created the pixel art, but you can switch between them. A lot of people, they love the pixel art, but the illustrated version was very well received. And back in the day, I think for about 1.5 2 years, they only had the pixel art. The illustrated art was launched around half a year to a year ago, if I'm correct. And people absolutely loved these. They were flying off the shelf, as I said. People were buying them. They were spending a lot of money. These were going upwards, floor upwards of maybe 15, 20 ETH, maybe even higher than that back in the day. And then a series of events happened which brought the floor price down and down, unfortunately. There was some issues with some of the items that they were giving away. So they or not giving away, but I guess the merch that they were releasing at the time was not really deemed as something that was really worth buying. It seemed something that people didn't really want. And then they announced at one point, out of the blue, that Moonbirds were going to be CC0. I think some people just refer it to as CCO, but it's CC0. And this essentially opens up the IP for anyone to use. So there's conflicting thoughts on this. Some people think this is a good thing. Some people think this is a bad thing. The holder's reaction was, this is bad. And the floor tanked. But the thing that seemed to really kill it, if I'm remembering correctly, for this project was Kevin Rose. I think he clicked on a link, a suspicious link or something like that, and he had his wallet drained. And he had a lot of very high-end NFTs, things like Fidenzas, Chromie Squiggles from Snowfro, CryptoPunks, a lot of things that he had in there, along with probably what is a sizable amount of money, and that all got drained, and that was the last straw for him. That was something that snapped for him, and then pretty much he went off the radar, and just over time the team showed up less and less, and there was less happening with the project. People didn't really know what was going on with it. He wasn't really around. Deleted Moonbirds out of his X profile, Yeah, and just tweeting CCO. How do we even say that now? I've got no idea. I don't know. Maybe I could look that up on ChatGPT, or somebody can comment down below. What do we now call tweets on X? What are those messages? But yeah, he sent one of those out with the CCO. That was a massive issue. And then when he just felt like he got rugged, I think he just felt a huge amount of disappointment in the space. He seemed to be someone that was excited about what was happening, but the fact that he could just lose everything with a click seemed to piss him off, and he just upped and left. After a while, Proof, with the Proof Collective, there's a separate NFT collection of about 999 or 1,000 membership cards, which are kind of cool. I'll just bring them up here. Proof. They have these membership cards. So Proof was acquired by Yuga. They went through a bit of a spending spree, acquiring, first of all, CryptoPunks and Meebits, and then they acquired the Proof Collective. But it was one of those things where it seemed to be like they were accumulating but had no real vision, no real plan. So they had these Proof Collective cards, which actually had an expiry. They technically expired at the end of 2024. Again, these things were running at one point in the hundreds of ETH. If you go into activity on some of these, I mean, they're being sold right now because I guess there's no real plans behind this. But at one point, some of these were going through, well, these were minted for 1 ETH. But if you go into some of these, they were purchased hundreds of ETH. This one was purchased at 50 ETH. Yeah, I mean, you'll see some of these that were bought for 120, maybe even more than that, 150 ETH. But there was an expiry. So they ran out. Yeah, this one here was listed or sold at one point for 73 ETH. So crazy amounts of money were traded on these things. A lot of money went into these. And this was then another launch was Moonbirds. And I don't know, I still like Moonbirds, and they still have, it's not a huge, but they still have an active community. So one of the things that I was alluding to, and sorry, it's taken me a while to get to this, but there were several traits that I always wanted with Moonbirds. And you can see the one that I got actually contains all of the traits that I like. It has the moon hat, it has the purple background, and it has the diamond eyes. These were, funnily enough, all the 3 traits that I really, really loved when I was used to look through this project. But back in the day, I didn't have the ETH to spend to get these kind of traits because they were high. You can see, I mean, if I go back to the beginning here, this was minted for 2.5 ETH, sold for 22 ETH, and it was stayed around there for about a year and a half, I think. Yeah, listed purchase for 29 ETH. 29 ETH. Crazy. But then the crash happened, kept going down, for 1.2, 1, until eventually it will come to sit in my wallet and I won't be getting rid of it. This will be something that I hold on to for a long time. So yeah, I really, really like this one. I really like this one. Recently, they had an announcement where they'd released some materials, and this was really, really cool. I've got this up here. It's a community guide. It's almost 100 pages. A lot of it is pictures. So you have, 2 pages, just pure pictures. But they've put so much effort into this. I'd recommend taking a look through it. This is still part of the Yugaverse right now, right? This is other side. They're still with Yuga. There's a chance that Yuga may sell this brand off. I think like what they've done with Meebits, it seems like they're trying to sharpen their focus on where they want to land, and they're just really, I think they just want to focus on Bored Apes, maybe Mutant Apes, and then the companion dogs. I think that's where they're going to be focusing alongside other side. So you might see further divestitures of assets that they've got. So maybe CryptoPunks at a certain point, they'd sell those off, possibly Moonbirds as well. But so much has gone into this. This is going to be very, very small on my screen, so I apologize for that. But they put together a 94-page prospectus that kind of walks through the overall universe, all of the fundamental characters, some of the auxiliary secondary characters, because what they're trying to do is create a consistent, well-articulated theme that they want to carry through everything that comes out from creators. So Moonbirds is something that's really about creators. They want people to be able to, create merchandise, create, things around AI, create stories, create maybe TV shows, whatever it is. They want people to be able to be creative, but they've kind of put some guidelines around the theming, the backlog, the story, so that carries consistency in everything that people do. Now, I don't really know what happens if people go rogue and build other things. I don't think they can do anything about that. But I do like that they've put this together, because it kind of gives people a framework as they're thinking about being creative and what they could do. It kind of gives them an idea, and it may allow for a lot of crossover collaboration that different creators are creating for Moonbirds. It may allow for a lot of crossover between creators in the future. So it's really cool. The artwork is amazing. A lot of thought and creativity went into putting all this out. It's really, really well worth a look. It's a lot of information, so you do need to have some time to sit and look through it. And the floor's back up slightly. When I purchased this, it was about as 0.4 floor, and I bought mine slightly above the floor because it was the one that I'd wanted. I did unfortunately have to sell something to get this one, unfortunately. But I will buy another one of those back. I did have to sell, which I do kind of regret a bit, but I did sell Damien Hirst, the currency, so I need to get another one of those, because I do love that NFT, and I don't want it to suddenly take off. But the floor went down on Moonbirds to about 0.35, and just given what they've been doing with the recent law, etc., you can see quite a few sells. There's been some WETH offers accepted, but people are buying the floor. I don't know if they're just buying the floor and then relisting them. It could be flippers. Some of them are buying above the floor, but quite a few sells given what's happening. So I think, despite everything that's happened, it's been rocky, but what NFT project hasn't? I mean, that's one of the fundamental things, right? There's no project that's done things perfectly. There's no project that has just gone smooth and done everything right, and it's not possible. You can't please everyone. Not everyone's going to be happy, and we're still living in this world of, trial and error with Web3 and NFTs. But these ones, I think that, I know they're not considered Legacy 21 or, earlier kind of CryptoPunks 2017 or some even earlier NFTs, like Mooncats. But I think there's a lot of potential with these. I think that it seems like it has a vibrant enough community that if you're looking at projects from a floor price perspective, this could be a good entry. Not financial advice, as nothing ever is, but it could be a good entry. And it's one of those projects, I think, even if you go into OpenSea, something cool to do, which you guys are probably already aware. Am I on OpenSea 1 or 2 here? I'm still on OpenSea 1. So just looking at, all of the top collections of all time, I think is something to look at as well. We are still very, very early. We're a couple of years in now. Most of us have been in this for, 4 to 7 years, depending on when you got in. But it's still very, very early in the tech, in the adoption. And, I think as more people come into NFTs and we onboard more people, they will look at what have been the top trending collections of all time. So I think that is something worth looking at. You go to top collections, we'll switch this to Ethereum. Switch it to Ethereum. We're going to do this for all time. And I think it's worth looking at, the top collections from all time, seeing what there is, because these are probably going to be the ones eventually that are, going to skyrocket. Bored Apes, Punks, Mutants, Azuki, Pudgies, and Moonbirds are right up there, number 8 of all time. I think it's definitely something worth looking at. Who knows? Maybe one day these will go back up to 20 ETH. It's got a good holder distribution, relatively low number of listings, and still a vibrant community. So yeah, very, very cool. I really appreciate you guys sitting through this with me. Let me know if you do have a Moonbird yourself. I'd be interested to hear how many people do have Moonbirds, and if you guys are excited about the future of this, or if I'm just being overly optimistic. Maybe it's just me and my eternal optimism. But let me know. Please, again, do, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, because that will help Ethereum to reach 10K. Have a great day, everyone.